So I'm just gonna hang out a minute. The idea behind this live is to delve into some of the poets who wrote before us. And I'm getting mixed reviews on this because a lot of people seem to feel that the past is the past, man. So I'm not sure how, what's up, Ryan? Yeah, I didn't want to do the fireplace, so I made a little fireplace. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's mixed reviews on the poets of the past and what their place is now. So everybody has their opinions, but I really feel like there's something to be gleaned from, you know, the people who came before us, the writers of yore. And that's what I want to highlight in these. Yep, I agree. In these lives that I'm going to try to do. I think I'm going to try to focus more explicitly on going forward, you know, focusing on the established poets of the ages, then try to focus less on reading peers. Like the Christmas reading I did all peer. Oh, I read one Lovecraft's Most Excellent Christmas Poem. But otherwise it was all contemporary, but that was a theme thing. So, like, I hope to do these more regularly. And I think if I continue to do them at midnight, I will maintain having low viewership, but it doesn't really matter because I can post it to my story the next day anyway. So, anybody that's watching this tomorrow, I ain't mad at you. So, I was hoping to not really get going until I had, like, at least 2 or 3 people, but excuse me, I probably will get started. So that's about the size of it. What I'm trying to do is just honor those who came before us, and I think the idea is not excuse me, I'm like super phlegmy. I should have made a new tea before I got started. But anyway, hello Deranged, how's it going? So yeah, what I try to do is take everybody's suggestions, and I made a list in like semi-order of when they came in. Kitty? I have a cat in here. I'm confused, Ryan. You may have heard my wheezing. Ryan, I did pull up some Tennyson, but if you wanted to come on and do the reading in your own voice, that would be totally cool. Hey, Jess. Meow. That might have been tardy. It might have been my wheezing. I'll try to keep that to a minimum. I really needed a drink at that moment. I think that was me, Ryan. I think I meeped. Alright, so I pulled up a bunch of tabs of all the submissions that I got, and it wound up being quite a lot. Some writers were suggested more than one time, and that would be 3 for Robert Frost, 3 for Edgar Allan Poe, 2 for Shakespeare, 2 for Whitman, 2 for Wordsworth, and 2 for Dylan Thomas. So I thought we would start there. We meet again. Uh-oh. I'm sorry if my phone's like gonna be making noise and stuff. But yeah, I guess I'll get started. Oh, there could have been also the music. Now I'm getting really, really self-conscious about, like, my breathing. I have had a cough. So I'm going to try to keep that out of the auditory range of whoever viewers. Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys hear my phone going off, but let me try to turn that down. Well, that didn't do it. Hold on. Notifications. Let's try that. Okay. Oh, it's all good. What's up, Just Poet? How you doing? So yeah, I guess I will just dive into this. I've never done anything like this specifically with so many different writers before. So usually I'll just sit with a book or something, but I don't have a book that has all this extensive coverage of poetry that I received today. So I'm just gonna go through these tabs. I pulled them up beforehand on my tablet, which is also new, so I'm trying to get more accustomed to that as well. So bear with me. So the interesting thing about all this is that uh-oh, my tabs aren't coming up. Dun dun dun. Okay, there they are. So the interesting thing is that when I started this account in August, I was doing a lot of readings of Lovecraft, and I also read Bukowski for a while, and I read Plath on lives, and I got several videos on my YouTube channel of that, and I never really put it together that, I don't know, it's just something that I feel was missing from, the general, I don't know, I don't see a lot of mention to the forefathers, and I don't know, I appreciated, I had posted for a while about William Burroughs and his style of cut up, and that's more contemporary poetry, but at the same time, I always find myself going back to the people that shaped me as I read in my life. So going again with this Dead Poets Society thing, they did this poem in the beginning by Thoreau, and I just thought it would be kind of adorable to start with that. I actually went and found the full length of the piece. So the piece that they did in the beginning of the movie was very short. This is the full version. And I just thought it was neat how they had, ceremony to it. It was kind of like a primitive honoring. And I think, that appeals to me. So this is still the same setup that I had used when I had done this before, but I don't know, it feels different now. And I hope to continue with this type of thing. However, in the movie, which I just saw today, and I know I'm 33 and people are like, how did you not see this movie ever? I'm like, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV. And, generally if a lot of people tell me to watch something, I won't. Anyway, so to be read at the beginning of every Dead Poets Society meeting, allegedly. I'll probably only do this time, but I thought it was pretty cool. This is from Thoreau's Walden. I went to the woods because I wished, sorry, my screen turned off, to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear. Nor did I wish to practice resignation unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms, and, if proved to be mean... Sorry. Why then to get to the whole and genuine meanness of it, and publish its meanness to the world, or if it were sublime, to know it by experience, and be able to give a true account of it in my next excursion. For most men, it appears to me, are in a strange uncertainty about it, whether it is of the devil or of God, and have somewhat hastily concluded that it is the chief end of man here to glorify God and enjoy him forever. Alright, so there's my homage to that film, which I don't know. I feel weird about it because I had never seen it, and I don't know. I feel like I had to acknowledge it aesthetically. So there's that. Let me just close this tab. The screen turns off twice, so while I was doing that, and I still haven't really figured out how to adjust that. It's my first day with this. Wow, Jess, that's impressive that you have some poems memorized. I stink at memorization. I memorized Stopping by Woods in my 5th grade class once, and I still retain the first couple stanzas to today, and, you know, the first one pretty well. The second one is as I get older, but that's pretty cool. There's only a couple of you in here. I just want to try to adjust the screen timer because this is really going to annoy me. Okay, sleep after 30 minutes of inactivity. That ought to do it. That was surprisingly quick. Alright, let's move on, shall we? I do have Tennyson up next. Ryan, did you want to get patched in and do a piece of two? Just let me know. And I will be posting this. I don't expect a lot of traffic this evening because it's late and I wanted it to be late. But it will be posted on my profile, so I'm going to try to patch you in.
Hey.
What up?
I'm trying to set my phone in a place where it will stand. It's a good spot.
Right.
How's it going tonight? Well, I mean, I've been here for about 10 minutes, so I guess I know already.
Yeah, I'm just chilling. Oh, boy, do I have like 40 tabs open on this tablet, and I'm just gonna try to scroll through them one at a time, but we'll see how it goes. I'm new to this tablet. I'm new to any tablet.
Doing my lives down here. I don't have anywhere to set my phone. I almost set myself. That's kind of a statement on how I view this phone. I don't have anywhere to set myself. Sorry, that was probably really loud and everything.
No, it's all good, man. You're fine.
I'm always loud.
Me too.
So I just go ahead and read this, or it's Tennyson.
Yeah.
From a book
Okay,
I got
we're gonna do Tennyson.
bookstore the other day for $20. It's a Tennyson, like perfect condition from 1899.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And it smells so good.
No, of course it does. That's fantastic.
This is called On a Mourner. Nature, so far as in her lies, imitates God and turns her face to every land beneath the skies. Counts nothing that she meets with base, but lives and loves in every place. Fills out the homely quick-set screens and makes the purple lilac ripe. Steps from her airy hill and greens the swamp where hummed the dropping snipe, with moss and braided marish pipe. And on thy heart a finger lays, saying, beat quicker, for the time's pleasant, and the woods and ways are pleasant, and the beach and lime put forth and feel a gladder climb. And murmurs of a deep voice, going before to some far shrine, teach that sick heart the strange, the stronger choice, till all thy life one way incline, with one wide will that closes thine. And when the zoning eve has died, where your dark valleys wind forlorn, come hope and memory, spouse and bride, from out the borders of the morn. with that fair child betwixt them born, and when no mortal motion jars the blackness round the tombing sod, throws silence in the trembling stars, comes faith from tracts no feet have trod, and virtue like a household god. I swear it's like half a page longer here. Promising empire, such as those once heard at dead of night to greet Troy's wandering prince, so that he rose with sacrifice, while all the fleet had rest by stony hills of Crete. Oh, that's it. I thought this other one was part of it.
That's cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Did you want to do you have any other ones like handy that you appreciate?
Well, I just got these books, and I'm kind of unfamiliar with. I've been reading Wordsworth more, but I'm kind of unfamiliar with Tennyson, honestly. I was really happy with the book, and my book nerd got really excited about it.
Yeah, sure.
I could
All right,
read
man.
a Wordsworth poem. I have this other book in front of me.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
It's up to you.
No, that's fantastic. Just quick question: is the music in here too loud or anything like that? Anybody else have any input there? Can you hear him okay?
I think the music could be louder.
All right. It gets louder, so I'll just leave it be. It's a soft spot right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's great.
See, it's tough with Wordsworth because, like, you're going to have all these 20-page poems.
Yeah, I'm finding out with a lot of the newer authors that were suggested to me today. So I'm not even sure how much of the list we're going to get through, but I might just keep going with it even if it's just me chilling, because I think it would make an excellent post, and I'm really looking forward to doing more of these. So
Yeah.
long poems are long poems, man. Take it away.
Okay. This one's not too long.
All right.
At the grave of Burns from 1803, 7 years after his death. This is a posthumous poem. I shiver, spirit fierce and bold, at thought of what I now behold. As vapors breathed from dungeons cold strike pleasure dead, so sadness comes from out the mold where Burns is laid. And have I then thy bones so near, and thou forbidden to appear? As if it were thyself that's here, I shrink with pain, and both my wishes and my fear alike are vain. Off wait, nor press on wait, away dark thoughts they came, but not to stay. With chastened feelings would I pay the tribute due to him, and aught that hides his clay from mortal view. Fresh as the flower whose modest worth he sang, his genius glinted forth, rose like a star that touching earth, for so it seems doth glorify its humble birth with matchless beams. The piercing eye, the thoughtful brow, the struggling heart, where be they now? Full soon the aspirant of the plough, the prompt, the brave, slept with the obscurest in the low and silent grave. I mourned with thousands, but as one more deeply grieved, for he was gone whose light I hailed when it first shone, and showed my youth how verse may build a princely throne on humble truth. Alas, where'er the current tends, regret pursues and with it blends. Huge cripples hoary top ascends by Skiddaw seen. Neighbors we were, and loving friends we might have been. True friends, though, diversely inclined, but heart with heart and mind with mind, where the main fibers are entwined through nature's skill, may even by contraries be joined more closely still. The tear will start, and let it flow. Thou poor inhabitant below, at this dread moment, even so, might we together have sate and talked where goans blow, or on wild heather. What treasures would have then been placed within my reach, of knowledge graced by fancy, what a rich repast. But why go on? Oh, spare to sweep, thou mournful blast, his grave grass grown. There, too, a son, his joy and pride. Not 3 weeks past, the stripling died. Stripling? I don't know. Lies gathered to his father's side, soul-moving sight, yet one to which is not denied some sad delight. For he is safe, a quiet bed hath early found among the dead, harbored where none can be misled, wronged, or distressed. And surely here it may be said that such are blessed. And oh, for thee, by pitying grace, checked oft times in devious race, may he, who halloweth the place where man is laid, receive thy spirit in the embrace for which it prayed. Sighing, I turned away. But ere night fell I heard, or seemed to hear, so music that sorrow comes not here, near, a ritual hymn, chanted in love that casts out fear, by seraphim. Ooh, man.
That's fantastic. And that was at the grave of Burns.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the little like subtitle of it, but yeah, that was the grave of Burns.
That's so interesting that, I guess that was one of his idols was Robert Burns, which is just so cool. That's exactly, what I'm talking about with all of this,
Yeah, like he was doing that. He was doing what you're doing tonight, so.
Exactly. So I'm really, and you've been doing some established poet reading yourself, right?
Yeah, I read from this book that I just read from. It was another one I found at the bookstore, and I got all excited about it because it's old as hell and it smells good.
I have
Val, I don't know if you know Val. You probably do from lives and stuff. She told me to read this Ode to Immortality from William Wordsworth, so I did, and it's like a 10-pager. So
Yeah.
I read smaller stuff around it, and then I read that. But yeah,
That's cool. I did that with my Christmas reading. I had a real banger at the end. It was like 5 or 7 pages.
yeah.
But thanks, man, for coming on, and I'll probably move on to James Dickey, I think, here.
Ooh, yeah.
Thanks for reading. I got now. I got to follow you with that excellent reading voice. The lullaby voice. All right, man. I'll see you in the comments.
All right.
All right. Ryan the Bayou King, ladies and germs. So that was some Tennyson and some Wordsworth. We're going to move on to James Dickey now. American poet and novelist. These a lot of these guys that I'm going to come across here are new to me. There's a huge amount of these were suggested, like popular ones: Robert Frost, Edgar Allan Poe, Shakespeare. But some of these other ones, like this James Dickey, are totally foreign to me. So if I don't know anything about these poets, I'll give you a brief summary. American poet and novelist, appointed the 18th Poet Laureate Consultant in Poetry to the Library of Congress in 1966. And we're going to read The Dusk of Horses. Right under their noses, the green of the field is paling away because of something fallen from the sky. They see this and put down their long heads deeper in grass that only just escapes reflecting them. As a dream of a mill pond would, the color green flees over the grass like an insect following the red sun over the next hill. The grass is white. There is no cloud so dark and white at once. There is no pool at dawn that deepens their faces and thirsts as this does. Now they are the feeding on solid cloud, one by one, with nails as silent as stars among the wood, hewed down years ago and now rotten. The stalls are put up around them. Now if they lean, they come on wood on any side, not touching it, they sleep. No beast ever lived who understood what happened among the sun's fields, or cared why the color of grass fled over the hill while he stumbled. Led by the halter to sleep, on his four taxed worthy legs. Each thinks he awakens here. The sun is black on the rooftop, and the green is dancing in the next pasture, and that the way to sleep in a cloud or in a risen lake is to walk as though he were still in the drained field standing, head down, to pretend to sleep when led, and thus to go under the ancient white of the meadow as green goes, and whiteness comes up through his face, holding stars and rotted rafters, quiet, fragrant, and relieved. By James Dickey. I think that's an interesting juxtaposition of the two perspectives of the horse. I really enjoyed that. So there was that one. Yes, James Dickey. Alright, we're going to do some William Blake. Ooh. Sorry, tablet difficulties. This is The Fairy by William Blake. Come hither, my sparrows, my little arrows. If a tear or a smile will a man beguile, if an amorous delay clouds a sunshiny day, if the step of a foot smites the heart to its root, 'tis the marriage ring makes each fairy a king. So a fairy sung, from the leaves I sprung. He leaped from the spray to flee away, but in my hat caught he soon shall be taught. Let him laugh, let him cry, he's my butterfly, for I've pulled out the sting of the marriage ring. That's very interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, honestly. I have some thoughts, but I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look into that. Let's go back and pick another one. If anybody knows, any author that I'm investigating right now, if you're familiar with William Blake, I was just going to say dystopia. That if anyone had a suggestion, wait, here we go. London, let's check that out. Seem to be having some difficulty. Oh, here we go. Let me see if it's listed here. Oh, London, here it is. How about it? This is London by William Blake. I wandered through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow. A mark in every face I meet marks the weakness, marks of woe. And every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. The mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hearse. That's so interesting of a perspective of a London street. And He died in 1827. So say 1800. 1800's London. Man, what a place. Oh, that's so beautiful. Let's see if I can find that poison tree as well. Yep, there it is. Alright. Here we have A Poison Tree by William Blake. Oh, I know this poem. This is a great poem. Alright. A Poison Tree by William Blake. I am angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, my wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning, with my tears, and I sunned it with smiles, and with soft deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright, and my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole, and in the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. Fantastic. I love that poem. I had never had any idea that that was William Blake. None. So thank you very much for that. Alright. I'm going to move on from William Blake to T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot died in 1965, height of the career 1950, 40 to 50. Let's see. I'm having some trouble accessing the, We're gonna have to come back to T.S. Eliot because I don't know if this is a rights thing or what, but I cannot access the catalog. So we shall press ever forward. I'm confused. Are you talking to Ryan, Dystopia? I'm still looking for Pablo Neruda poems. Because he's next. Let's go with The Portrait in the Rock. And if anybody knows any other Pablo Nerudas, just let me know. Oh yes, I knew him. I spent years with him, with his golden and stony substance. He was a man who was tired. In Paraguay he left his father and mother, his sons, his nephews, his latest in-laws, his house, his chickens, and some half-opened books. They called him to the door. When he opened it, the police took him, and they beat him up so much that he spat blood in France and Denmark and Spain and Italy, moving about, and so he died, and I stopped seeing his face, stopped hearing his profound silence. Then once on a night of storms, with snow spreading, a smooth cloak on the mountains, on horseback, there, far off, I looked, and there was my friend. His face was formed in stone. His profile defied the wild weather. In his nose the wind was muffling the moaning of the persecuted. There the exile came to ground. Changed into stone, he lives in his own country. That's fantastic. I think I just love the whole... Wow, it's so short, but he says so much. He sets up a whole prerequisite, stanza, and then the present and how it all resolved into the future with the rock and the idea that, the spirit would live on because of that likeness in the stone. The king. um, so yeah, let's see what else we'll do one more by him. I'm reluctant to linger because I don't really want to go for 2 hours, but this got out of control and I really want to pursue it. How about Ode to Tomatoes? The street filled with tomatoes, midday summer. Light is halved like a tomato. Its juice runs through the streets. In December, unabated, the tomato invades the kitchen. It enters at lunchtime, takes its ease on countertops, among glasses, butter dishes, blue salt cellars. It sheds its own light, benign majesty. Unfortunately, we must murder it. The knife sinks into living flesh, red viscera. A cool sun, profound, inexhaustible, populates the salads of Chile. Happily, it is wed to the clear onion, and to celebrate the union, we pour oil, essential child of the olive, onto its halved hemispheres. Pepper adds its fragrance, salt its magnetism. It is the wedding of the day. Parsley hoists its flag. Potatoes bubble vigorously. The aroma of the roast knocks at the door. It's time, come on. And on the table, at the midpoint of summer, the tomato, star of earth, recurrent and fertile star, displays its convolutions, its canals, its remarkable amplitude and abundance. No pit, no husk, no leaves or thorns. The tomato offers its gift of fiery color and cool completeness. That is the most amazing poem I've ever heard about a tomato. I'm actually making notes for myself because, again, Pablo Neruda is completely new to me, and I really appreciated that. That's fantastic. I keep swiping out 2 windows at a time, and it's no good. No bueno. Next, we're going to have Elizabeth Bishop. She died in 1979, and height of the career was 1960 to 1970. Sestina. This is Sestina. September rain falls on the house. In the failing light, the old grandmother sits in the kitchen with the child beside the little marble stove, reading the jokes from the almanac, laughing and talking to hide her tears. She thinks that her equinoctial tears and the rain that beats on the roof of the house were both foretold by the almanac, but only known to a grandmother. The iron kettle sings on the stove. She cuts some bread and says to the child, "It's time for tea now." But the child is watching the tea kettle's small, hard tears dance like mad on the hot black stove, the way the rain must dance on the house. Tidying up, the old grandmother hangs up the clever almanac on its string. Bird-like, the almanac hovers half open above the child, hovers above the old grandmother, and her teacup full of dark brown tears. She shivers and says she thinks the house feels chilly, and puts more wood in the stove. "It was to be," says the marble stone. "I know what I know," says the almanac. With crayons a child draws a rigid house and a winding pathway. Then the child puts in a man with buttons like tears, and shows it proudly to the grandmother. But secretly, while the grandmother busies herself about the stove, the little moons fall down like tears from between the pages of the almanac into the flower bed the child has carefully placed in front of the house. Time to plant tears, says the almanac. The grandmother sings to the marvelous stove, and the child draws another inscrutable house. Jesus. I thoroughly enjoyed that. What a tale. So much illusion. Illusory comments, not illusion, like sleight of hand. That was great. I will definitely be reading more Elizabeth Bishop. Let's have another. This one's called Insomnia. Am I falling in love right now? The moon in the bureau mirror looks out 1,000,000 miles, and perhaps with pride at herself, but she never smiles. Far and away beyond sleep, or perhaps she's a daytime sleeper. By the universe deserted, she'd tell it to go to hell, and she'd find a body of water or a mirror on which to dwell. So wrap up care in a cobweb and drop it down the well. Into the world inverted, where left is always right, where the shadows are really the body, where we stay awake all night, where the heavens are shallow as the sea, is now deep, and you love me. My goodness. Insomnia by Elizabeth Bishop. Alright, next we have Walt Whitman. I have to do the "Oh Captain, My Captain" as well, partially in reference to the movie and partially in reference to the captain. Alright, Walt Whitman, "Oh Captain, My Captain." Make sure that's correct. Yes. "Oh Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold and dead. We can't kill the captain. Oh Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills. Tend for you bouquets and ribboned wreaths, for you the shores are crowding. For you they call, the swaying mast, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on the deck you fallen cold and dead. My captain does not answer, his lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm, he has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip to victorship, comes in with object won. Exult, O shores, and ring, O bells, but I, with mournful tread, walk the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold and dead. I didn't know the captain died. I'm such a noob, but my curiosity is extensive, and I did not know that this was the point here. So I'm going to have to go ahead and redact my former statements, but some more Whitman, ladies and germs. We'll have another. A woman waits for me. A woman waits for me. She contains all, nothing is lacking. Yet all were lacking if sex were lacking, or if the moisture of the right man were lacking. Sex contains all, bodies, souls, meanings, proofs, purities, delicacies, results, promulgations, songs, commands, health, pride, the maternal mystery, the seminal milk, all hopes, benefactions, bestowals, all the passions, loves, beauties, delights of this earth, all the governments, judges, gods, followed persons of the earth. These are contained in sex as part of itself and justifications of itself. Oh, hold on. I lost it. I'm using a stylus and I touched the wrong thing. Well, I don't expect this is going to be the only one of these readings. I mean, I'm like 99% sure, if not 100, that this will become somewhat regular. So we can revisit Walt Whitman. Next we had Sylvia Plath. I know she was very popular among most of the people that I talked to. How many did I have for her? Actually, only 2 people suggested her. Excuse me. How much time do I have left? Let's see. About 10 minutes. Yeah, I didn't get anywhere near as much as I wanted to done. But this list will probably keep me for a while if that's the case. So, definitely check back. Let's have the Beast. He was the bullman earlier, king of the dish, my lucky animal. Breathing was easy in his airy holding. The sun sat in his armpit. Nothing went moldy. The little invisibles waited on him hand and foot. The blue sisters sent me to another school. Monkey lived under the dunce cap. He kept blowing me kisses. I hardly knew him. He won't be got rid of. Mumblepaws, teary and sorry. Fido Little Soul. The bowels unfamiliar. A dustbin's enough for him. The dark's his bone. They call him any name. He'll come to it. Mudsump, happy sty face. I've married a cupboard of rubbish. I bed in a fish puddle. Down here the sky is always falling. Hog swallows at the window. The starbugs won't save me this mouth. I housekeep in time's gut end, among emmets and mollusks, Duchess of Nothing, Hairtusk's bride. It's so trendy, but crud, I love her. How do you not? How do you not? We'll have On Deck by Sylvia Plath. Midnight in the mid-Atlantic, on deck. Wrapped up in themselves as in thick veiling and mute as mannequins in a dress shop, some few passengers keep track of the old star map on the ceiling, tiny and far, a single ship, lit like a 2-tiered wedding cake carries its candle slowly off. Now there is nothing much to look at, still nobody will move or speak. The bingo players, the players at love, on a square no bigger than a carpet, are hustled over the crests and troughs, each stalled in his particular minute, and castled in it like a king. Small drops spot their coats, their gloves, they fly too fast and feel the wet. Anything can happen where they are going. The untidy lady revivalist for whom the good Lord provides, he gave her a pocketbook, a pearl hatpin, and 7 winter coats last August, prays under the breath that she may save the art students in West Berlin. An astrologer at her elbow, a Leo, picked his trip date by the stars. He is gratified by the absence of ice cakes. He'll be rich in a year, and he should know, selling the Welsh and English mothers' nativities at 2 and 6. And the white-haired jeweler from Denmark is carving a perfectly faceted wife to wait on him, hand and foot, quiet as a diamond. Moony balloons tied by a string to their owner's wrists. The light dreams float to be let loose at news of land. Something about sea poetry always gets to me. man. And I'm not gonna like go into it and be like, oh, my favorite exact stanzas were this, this, and this. Like, it's not about what I think, it's about what you think. And I don't want to influence anything. I just want to read the things and put them out there. Probably have time for one more, so see who's next. Roy Campbell. I read a poem yesterday by him called Tristan da Cunha, which was amazing. It's so freaking good. But I don't want to read that again because I read it twice already. So I want to pick something else. Let's go with The Flaming Terrapin. This is Roy Campbell. How often have I lost this fervent mood, and gone down dingy thoroughfares to brood on evils like my own from day to day? Life is a dusty corridor, I say, shut at both ends, but far across the plain. Old ocean growls and tosses his grey mane, pawing the rocks in all his old unrest, or lifting lazily on some white crest his pale foam feathers for the moon to burn. There to my veins I feel new sap return. Strength tightens up my sinews long grown dull, and in the old charred crater of the skull light strikes the slow somnambulistic mind, and sweeps her forth to ride the rushing wind, and stamping on the hilltops high in air, to shake the golden bonfire of her hair. This sudden strength that catches up men's souls, and rears them up like giants in the sky, giving them fins where the dark ocean rolls, and wings of eagles when the whirlwinds fly. Send visible to me in its true self no spiritual essence or winged elf. Like Ariel on the empty winds to spin, I see him as a mighty terrapin, rafting whole islands on his stormy back, built of strong metals molten from the black roots of the inmost earth. Oops, hold on. The ark is launched, cupped by the streaming breeze. The stiff sails tug the long, reluctant keel, and Noah, spattered by the rising seas, stands with his great fist fastened to the wheel. Sorry, I need a drink. Like driven clouds the waves went rustling by, feathered and fanned across the liquid sky, and, like those waves, the clouds in silver bars creamed on the scattered shingle of the stars. All night he watched black water coil and burn, and the white wake of phosphorus astern lit up the sails and made the lanterns dim, until it seemed the whole sea burned for him, the flaming terrapin, his labors done. Humped like a cloud over mountain, crag, and field, rose on the skyline, the far-shooting sun splintered its arrows on his fiery shield, from whose bright dome in sudden ricochets recoiling flashed the long reflected rays, while, rolling his red eyes a double moon that lit the hillsides with a second noon, he sank to rest, his golden ridges tiered, above the foam now slowly disappeared. And as clouds roll immense and globed and still, to burst in thunder round a lonely hill, the slow foam gathered round him o'er his wild, mountainous outline ponderously piled. It hung one moment poised in grim suspense, and then swamped crushing down, and from its dense vortex of thunder, with a gradual sweep, rolled forth in groaning circles on the deep. Though the dark sky has gathered stormy numbers of vultures to be snowed upon my corpse, their weak arc of heaven warps beneath the darkness that encumbers the night beyond, though we believe the end is but the end, and that the torn flesh crumbles, and the fierce soul rent from its temple tumbles into the gloom where empty winds contend, and gnat-like vortex droning, what is this that makes us stamp upon the mountain tops, so fearless at the brink of the abyss, where into space and sharp rock rampart drops, and bleak winds hiss? It is the silent chanting of the soul, Though time shall change and stormy ages roll, I am that ancient hunter of the plains, that rakes the shaggy flitches of the bison, past world. I am the dreamer that remains, the man, clear cut against the last horizon. Well, damn. Roy Campbell. The Flaming Terrapin. Alright, guys, thanks for hanging out. I did not get anywhere near as much done as I had hoped, and I had considered going for 2 hours, but I just don't think I have it in me this evening. But thanks for coming by, and anybody who's watching tomorrow, I hope you enjoyed. I'll probably post a list of who was read in a little while, maybe in the morning, but yeah. I think that's about it. I'm probably going to end the live and send out a couple more messages and go to bed, take my ass to sleep. Alright, guys, have a good night.